this is Noreen from Joy Cards, and today we're making a love card using birds and branches. So this one's fun. So of course we're using the birds and branches stamp set and the dies, and this is from the new catalog. And by the way, if you want a catalog, email me and I'll get you a catalog. Also, please subscribe to my YouTube channel. Please, please, please. Keeps me alive in doing this. And I also have a joyofcards.com website where you can see all my videos. You can place orders. You could do all kinds of stuff. So anyway, birds and branches, and then the sentiments are coming from Heart to Heart. We're going to be using Stitch So Sweetly, these dies here, and of course the birds and more from Birds and Branches. So let's get started. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to take a 5.5 by 4 1/4 card base. Now this is Misty Moonlight, one of the new colors, which I absolutely love. And then we're going to take a piece of Magenta Madness, which is also new from Stampin' Up, and we are going to cut that 5 3/8 by 4 1/4. So I want it just a little smaller than the card base itself, so we can go ahead and put that on, and the only trick is to get it right so it's perfect, huh? And that's perfect. Okay, and then we're going to take a piece of Shimmer White because we're going to do some sponging here. Now this is going to be cut 4 1/8 by 5 1/2. First thing we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and stamp the background here. So I'm going to get a big block. This is the E block, and I'm going to put a whole bunch of memento on it because I'm not using the Stamperetta, so we've only got one shot at it. That's okay, we can do it. So put a bunch of memento on and put it toward the bottom. Give yourself, I don't know, maybe a 1/2 inch up. And stamp that real good. Watch your hands. If you nab yourself with ink, take a baby wipe or go wash your hands, because that happens all the time. All right, and then I'm going to grab the little eggs and I'm going to stamp these up. Now when I put the eggs in the nest, I want them like 3/4 poking up maybe. So there. All right, and then I'm going to take the birds, the solid birds from the set, and stamp it all up and put one bird here, and then grab the opposite bird and put that one here. Okay, and then the next thing I'm going to do is take my light basic black, and I'm going to fill in all this white. So I'm gonna, like, you just take the little tip and fill in the gaps. Don't just, you know, color it in. You actually want to see where the twigs were, so you're just covering up the little pieces of white, just like that. And then on the birds, I'm gonna trace around the whole bird and fill it in, and I'm gonna trace around the eggs and fill it in. So I'm gonna do that coloring, and I'll be right back. When you're done filling in, this is what it's going to look like. Now, you might want to give that a few minutes to dry because that's got a lot of black on it, still wet. In the meantime, go ahead and take the 2 birdie outlines, the egg, and the nest, and cut out a mask. So just take some scratch paper and cut that out. And then also take your 1.5 inch punch and punch out a circle. Keep the circle and the negative because you're going to do that to make the sun. Also, these particular dies leave an edge around the outside. I don't know if you can see that. You can definitely see it unlike the egg. And what we need is to mask off just the egg. So I'm going to take a pair of scissors and cut that little edging off, because what it'll do after I ink is it'll leave a big white spot, and we can fudge a little bit of a white spot, but a big one, that's a little more tough. So I'm gonna cut the edges off these. I might leave it on the nest because the nest seems to be okay, but I'm gonna do the birds and the eggs. I'm gonna do that and I'll be right back. Got all the birds edged out, and I'm gonna take some tape that'll just mask so it's not like heavy duty tape, just to cover it up. So I'm going to cover up those birds and make sure you're pretty like on the spot with those. So I'm going to mask everything down. Now do the birds first and the eggs and then the nest. So I'm going to do that and I'll be right back. Now I'm going to mask down the negative to the circle. This is going to be our sun, obviously. So I'm going to put it a little lower than I did on my original card, just a smidge. And then I'm going to take some Daffodil Delight and one of the Stampin' Up! Sponges that you can cut in like a million pieces, and also a piece of scratch paper. So let's take a little bit. Now my Daffodil Delight, I just re-inked, and boy did I over-ink it. So I'm going to just blot off some here and then go in with circles and make my sun. Now make sure you don't have any like ink that you pick up from anything really. Just be careful of your hands. If you get ink on your hands, go to the bathroom, wash them off, or take a baby wipe or something. All right, and that's going to be the sun. Now with all the residual ink on the sponge here, I'm going to take it and I'm going to sponge around it, because it should have enough yellow still. Okay, so that's it. I'm going to leave that out just for a while, just in case. And then I'm going to take the circle that was cut with that punch and make sure all the little webbing is not sticking out. And then I'm going to mask the sun. Okay, next color is Melon Mambo. And this part of your piece, you want to keep it pretty light, so no blue should be like in this area at all, even on the sides a little bit. Now, of course, I just inked my pad and over inked it, so I have to really take some of this off. That's why I kind of like using dry pads, because you know they're not going to be over inked. Really get that off. All right, so I'm going to start on the edge and go in. Hold down your mask. You know that tape isn't the best. So just going to put on a little bit of this Melon Mambo. And actually touching the mask is great, because at least you're not touching your piece if you just happen to have any ink on your hands. And you can go a little wider, because you will cover some of it with blue. All right, so that's it for Melon Mambo. And then the next one is Balmy Blue. Now, as you're doing this, keep all your sponges separate, because you might have to go back in and just touch something up. So here's Balmy Blue, of course, over inked as well. Circle in. Remember, you're using the shimmery white paper, hopefully you are, not Whisper White. So when you ink on something like this, it really shines through kind of nice. I'm holding it down with I'm holding my fingers on the mask, so if I have any ink, hopefully won't get on the good part. That also open, and I'm going to go in with Pacific Point. Pacific Point is also just normally dark, not only just me over inking my cartridges, but it's dark. Okay, and you just want to hit the edges more so than anything else. Okay, I'm gonna leave that out for a while, and then Night of Navy, and grab its own sponge. This is also very, very dark, so careful. Okay, go in on the sides. Okay, go back to that balmy blue and just go over a little bit. I'm gonna flip my things over. Oh, an old recipe. Tap that off, go in. Might go into the Melon Mambo a little bit more and the yellow a little bit more. And no inking is going to be the same, so my sample might look a little lighter outside and this one might be a little darker outside. And then I'm going to grab Daffodil Delight again. And guess what? I'm going to take off the mask. Okay. Okay, now let's see what we got underneath. Now there's gonna be white, so that's normal. And let's take off the birds. And let's take off the eggs. Now you've got this white here. And rub off any kind of residual glue. So I took off as much of the magenta on this sponge that we had before, and since this is black, it's a little forgiving, so I'm just going to go right over the bird. Not worried about it. Okay, great. That's just a little better than using the blending pen, but you got to make sure that ink's pretty off that that sponge. Okay, so now we've got this. The next step that we're going to do now. See the difference? I use a lot less magenta here and a lot more magenta here, so they're all going to look different. All right, the next thing you're going to do is you're going to take this die here and you're going to cut out 3 of them. So I've already cut out 3 here, and what we're going to do is we're going to take our little silicone craft sheet, which I love to death, and we're going to take the fine tip glue, another thing I love to death, and just put a little bit of glue on the edge. Now, we might be cutting off some, so don't worry about it, but just glue the whole thing up. Grab some tweezers, and I'm going to go this way first. Now, try to find a spot that you like, that if you're to cut off branches, that you're not gonna cut off an important branch. So I'm gonna put this, push it down pretty good, and then I'm gonna take my scissors and I'm gonna start cutting branches off, but branches that I want to save. I'm gonna take this one off. I'm saving that one. I'm saving that one. Okay, let's get another one. I'm gonna glue it up. Okay, and then this one I'm gonna have going like that. Oopsie, white glue. Hold it down real good. Take it. And I strategically put this so I could save that little leaf there. And I'm going to cut these off. Okay. Now I'm going to take the little leaf here and kind of see where I want to put it. Like I might want to put it here, or maybe like here, or here, or here. I'll put it over there. So like here, like it's coming off from the underneath. Then take this one here. Put it there. And then I'm going to grab this branch because we made 3. So we just used the ones that were coming off. So you've got all your little leaves down. We're going to work on the sentiment. So we're going to take this die from Stitched So Sweetly and cut out this in the Magenta Madness is a new color. And then we're going to take our hearts I mentioned together from Heart to Heart. and we're going to go ahead and do this in Misty Moonlight. And this is my Misty Moonlight from my paper pumpkin because the catalog just released and I don't have my colors yet. All we got early for demonstrators was the paper. So, but it was in my paper pumpkin and I've been using it like crazy. It's a really cool blue, definitely a good one to get. And then there's our sentiment, and then we're going to take some dimensionals, and I'm on the end of my pack of dimensionals here. So we're going to put our sentiment right there. Now we're going to go back to that base that we put the magenta magnets on, and we're going to go ahead and snail this up and put this in here like this. Now I don't know if you're going to like the one where I did the magenta darker or lighter, so here's kind of a comparison. So if you want it light, just make sure you just sweep gently. If you want a little darker like mine, then do what I just did. So, and then inside we're going to take a piece of Magenta Madness, and this will be cut at 5.5 by 4 1/8. And the reason why you're cutting it at a 4 1/8 is this is going to go the entire length of the card, but we want to give it room to fold, and if you get it too close, it doesn't, close and all that kind of wonky stuff. So we got that. Put that down. Then we're going to take this die from Birds and More, and we're going to cut 2 of these things from this is the new Just Jade, which is another really pretty color, and of course they all coordinate. And then you want to take your fine tip glue and you want to glue it. You don't want to snail this because it's going inside of a card, and snail goes everywhere, and this has all those little holes and your card will stick together. So you're just going to have to do some fine tip glue. Now I did try to cut this to the size of the card, but I'm sure there's going to be a little hanging off. So let's go ahead and we'll take it from here. And I know there is because I know I didn't cut it right, but that's okay. I was going to snip it off anyway. Nope, it's perfect. All right. And then the other side. Here's the other side. And I do have to snip a little bit off on this one. You just turn it over, take your scissors, cut it off, no big deal. Alrighty, and then we're going to grab this particular die from Stitch So Sweetly is this one. It's the second largest one. Get our stamp pad out. This sentiment is Heart to Heart is from this one again. And take that Misty Moonlight, which I love. Good thing I had my paper pumpkin. If you're interested in a paper pumpkin subscription, go to myjoyacards.com or my Stampin' Up site here, and you can get one of those. And actually, I'm actually giving something away for your subscription, so that'd be cool. All right, and then just stamp this, burp, and snail it up. Put it in the middle of the card, and that's it. So that's the card. Here's the inside. Here's the outside. If you like it a little more magenta, do it that way. A little lighter, do it that way. Please subscribe to my YouTube channel. Kind of keeps me on the air, so that'd be awesome. And myjoyacards.com, where you can see all my videos in one spot. And that'll do it. Thanks. Bye.